The Gambit side is just down to 3 at this point. They have diminished the attack, and FPX have already forced them back, Tom.
Yeah, this becomes a bit of a difficult round to read with looking at the map in particular, but it is going to be that 5-on-3. Now the push, they're going to come back forward for the side of Gambit, hoping to try and find something, but there's a hell of a lot of utility trying to deny them. The star place just in front, and Zipan, it's just going to shut them down alongside Tombizz. Only a single player lost in this pistol, and interestingly, so if we're going into this map in particular, right, this was the map that was chosen by FPX, correct me if I'm wrong. Does that mean that Gambit chose to start attack?
I think, Tom, your logic is once and for all as flawless as usual. Yes, FPX decided that it's going to be split, and therefore Gambit picked a side. Attack.
That's very interesting, because I personally, like, I think that FPX are one of those teams that can definitely show how good they are on the attacking side, but the fact that you've given them the defense, the side which, at least in terms of like statistical rounds, I feel like you're more likely to pick them up. That's quite interesting to me. So I almost have to throw a little bit of respect to Gambit that they are willing to take the attack side first, and then we just watch and see what they're going to be able to do with it. Because of course, if you are a team that has that strong mental fortitude, it doesn't really matter what side you start on, but it just means that they want to try and set the pace.
Ooh, talking about setting the pace, Shadows and Chronicle definitely do set the pace right here. That is painful, and that is painful indeed, as Redguard, Nats, and Shadows are still in a spot to damage FPX economy quite well here on defense. As middle seems to be their objective right now, Tom. If they can punch another hole in the wall right here of FPX, I doubt it with Tombizz like this.
Yeah, Tombizz is another one of those players which I think he's going to annoy you on this map. Like, I think if you're giving me a list of players I would least like to play on Split, Tombizz is right at the top of the list, because his lurks on this map in particular are so effective. And I don't just mean like, oh, it's a round where everyone's going towards B and he's on A. I mean like he somehow manages to find himself in your spawn sometimes without you realizing, which against a professional team should never happen, but that's not even like me harping on the team. That is just saying that I think this man has some sort of ninja cloak which he just throws on and just disappears for a moment in the round. So it's going to be rough. Of course, that's more highlighting him on the attacking side. For now, though, this is a much weaker purchase coming out from FPX. Sure, they have a couple of rifles, but realistically, this is where we want to see Gambit getting on the board. Otherwise, we might start to worry a little bit.
And I'm sure that in the next freeze, I'm going to tell you my theory about why Gambit wants to start an attack. But, well, the start of the attack actually has to start once in a while, because so far, down on 0 rounds, they don't gravitate towards success yet. The opposite of what we've seen on Icebox. Switch the pace and switch the direction. Over the A side they seem to go. I don't see a star of Shadow there yet, but might be just a matter of time.
A lot of pressure. About to come on to Shadow. He actually gets a 1-for-1 trade with Stinger. That's really not too bad. 40 seconds left on the clock. Camera denied, so the information only going to be that there's someone on the other side. All placed down as well.
There it goes. And that's the paranoia here, pretty much doing excellent work of Redguard, but Chronicle has a reply to someone who's peeking too wide. And this brings Gambit in a spot where they definitely have a chance to turn it around. And as I say that, Zipan of course strikes. Tombizz as well as Angel gotta now turn it around with 22 and 100 points of health. Not the easiest task, as Nat just waits patiently behind the screen. He doesn't want to swing too wide. Knows about Angel's existence, but he has no clue where Tombizz is. Now it's time for the frag. Definitely saw him. And that 1 versus 1 between the Cyphers. Who's gonna stay cooler? Well, it's gonna be Nats. That brings them the clutch. And the victory of Gambit was, though, extremely costly right here.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be happy that they got the round, but I don't think they'll be happy in the manner of it. Like, FPX do very well to make things costly. As said, even players with a Stinger, Spectre, Pistol managing to do damage. So the purchase in the next round is probably going to be fine for the side of FPX. But I do like the way that that's played by Nats. I think he's one of the players I highlighted earlier and said that the way that he uses his utility, it's not like a lot of other ciphers. Like, he's almost used as a secondary information agent. Like, you look towards the likes of a Sova on this map, which is another thing that we somewhat failed to mention, is that Xiao's actually back on Sova on Split, which is not something you see very often either. This comp really has caught me off guard, at least. I imagine it's going to be similar for the side of Gambit as well.
Seems like they are very, very much set on taking that mid control. Angel actually survives in that and escapes, not in time. The teleport was just about to give him some safety, but ain't happening. And the same goes for the showstopper. Very early used. Unfortunately, no frag found at that point for Sippin. And Demasix, yeah, well, would have the neural theft, but I'm not quite sure if that's going to bring him anything, because first of all, he needs to survive in middle. Ain't happening.
Well, Xiao's going to hear all of the footsteps. He's a man highlighted for his clutches, sometimes not up there in the statistical data, but can definitely bring around home for FPX when they need it most. Two players sat into the corner, though. I don't know how he's going to clear this without too much trouble, and Chronicle might just use to bait things out. Oh, no! Very wrong for Xiao, but it doesn't actually cost him too much. He's going to be able to get down. He still has his drone available to him, and also the dart. But that being shot doesn't actually tell him too much. This is the moment where he's actually peeked. That's so smart from Chronicle. He's not going to know there's a second player there. It doesn't matter in the end, but the way that Chronicle played that is perfect. Not only is he the one to shoot the info dart, but he's also the one to swing in to actually get caught by the drone. So even if he dies, they know that they don't know there's a second player there.
Wild. That right here was wild, and I have to say, I'm genuinely a bit surprised by a mid defense here from FPX, struggling big time to hold them up, and well, very well represented right now in their economy. We got pretty much only sheriffs, one Bucky indeed, but other than that, not too much. Defo and Co have set themselves a target as they want to gravitate towards the side of A. Angel is down. Much more is coming over ramp, and this is where maybe good old Bucky could be the exact tool you are looking for. They're all spotted. They're all known, but they find one after another. Gambit is not stopping right now.
And Neural Theft is going to give them the information that everybody's in heaven, so the chances of this round slipping seem ever more slim. And while with only Shadow remaining, he's going to at least get himself one with the Bucky, but likely that'll be all.
Just milliseconds and millimeters away from escaping on the crosshair of Redgar. But here's the lead for Gambit on the attack side of Split. And my wild theory here is, Tom, that the reason why Gambit have picked attack is that out of all the 12 matches played in 2021 by FPX, 11 out of 12 are starting with FPX on attack. And maybe their thought process, and just maybe, was that, you know, they always start on attack, let's catch them off guard, and actually start.
That is also because every other team wants to play them on to start on defense.
Of course, no, you're right, absolutely, of course. They're not voluntarily always being picked in that situation. I get that, but at the same time, I could possibly see it. Maybe, just a maybe.
I think the better way to put it is they want to set the pace, the tone of the map, and I can respect that. I think that if you're a team with as much depth of strategy, ultimately you know that you're going to be playing both sides of the map, so switch things up, maybe try and catch them playing a little bit more slow, but realistically, like I don't think FPX are going to be too phased by this.
No, not the way, but setting the pace, that's most likely the thing. Funny-wise, the only time when FPX was actually starting on defense, they lost, which was against Guild in Masters. Funny story, but does it make a difference? I would join you on that. Not to.
Was that? I think that was also the map where Guild would have picked Split. So then they would have also picked. Like, it would have been FPX's choice to start defense.
Most likely, but for now, most likely,
30 seconds left.
it has to be one hell of a defense by FPX. As though there's a man down on Gambit, this does not have to mean a thing, as the strength from the CIS team has been displayed so often. They change pace massively. It's going up to heaven, and look what's there. One well-placed gravity well, and that is gonna delay him again and again. They capitalize on it, and this is where the little tiny tornado on the ground is sucking you in. You ain't going anywhere.
You call it the tiny tornado. I'm pretty sure Hypok calls it the big suck, but whatever it is, it's going to be one of those things that there is not much you can do about it. Good utility usage there by FPX to close out the round on the defense. And that is the thing, like, you look over at other regions, for example, you look to Turkey, look to CIS, and I don't think they will have had that many matchups where they're going to have played against someone on the Astra. Again, there's so many things we could theorize about the comp coming in. It's not one I think we've seen at all on Split, so maybe just an idea to try and make things a little bit more awkward. But also, as said, like, bringing in that Astra, it's going to be something that Gambit almost have to react to on the fly.
Couldn't agree more. And Estefo is only holding down that W, not dashing, no updraft. A crazy frag by Shados found through the smoke of Angel. And this leads to a two-man disadvantage. No tripwire this time around, Defo. You can take the ground. It's crazy. This is the speed of Gambit. And you talked about it, setting the pace. This is what they do with such individual performances.
Does look like they're going to try and battle for this A site. Not a whole lot of defenders here. Shall be able to get the information a little bit earlier, but the problem is they're pressuring him down and already getting spammed through the smoke. They have a decent idea of where he is. However, Xiao is surviving on the edge of it, just going for the spam.
That could have been way worse here, Tom. That could have been way more problematic, but now it could have been time to deny it. Demasik, though, strikes, doesn't have the awareness about the ramp player, and this brings another one on the board for Gambit. It's, again, a bit of a deja vu I'm having, considering what we saw in Icebox. Though, obviously, they started way more dominant. They started with a lot more strength, and they had the grip totally on their side. This time around, FPX, yeah, fighting back from time to time. Still, not in the leading position.
There is still going to be a purchase available. I'm liking the look of where these shock darts are going. Cheeky little bounce up to try and cause some early damage. Doesn't catch anyone, and actually they're just going to go running straight through the flash. Not catching them out, and with two players ready and waiting. It's already looking bleak for Gambit in this round. Shadow adds another to the body pile, but Chronicle has found another couple back. Now we know that any member of this Gambit team have the individual skill to bring things back. Shadow's starting to come under pressure. In fact, even going to try and use his ice wall just to get out of there. Doesn't have the res available just yet, but an extra kill would put that in his hands and maybe swing the tide completely. More interestingly, from our perspective though, the rotation all the way through, and Xiao will leave it now just up to Chronicle, who thinks he's got free roam, but there is a man just around the corner.
Chronicle taking a very accurate spot. Sippin, though, saying, ain't happening, brother. And that brings it to the tie. He thought he would have a lot of freedom, but that ain't the case. And here it was again, FPX denying the room, especially on ramp. I mean, that final frag was, that frag with that Hunter's Fury was for me somewhat of a difference maker, because Shados, if he would have found a frag or possibly Orb and B main, if they would have taken the time, he could have brought a player back, made it man equalize, and definitely strengthened that retake defense on the side of Gambit. But back and forth it is, again and again. Defo, the only one going for the frenzy, but of course, not really the thing, because the ult's ready. The daggers are there to fly around.
Oh, the boombot. I don't think they're expecting any kills from that, but it does at least tell FPX, so there will be a battle for mid. It's always going to be a focus for both of these teams. Mid control on this map gives so many opportunities to cut off the rotation, slow down anybody if they want to try and get quickly from A to B, stop any flanks, but more importantly, gives you the opportunity to have those rotations on the fly. Now, you can see the amount of utility that's currently in heaven for FPX. You've got the star down, you've got Cypher utility in form of trips that if you break, there's almost definitely going to be a response. I like this from Defo. He goes straight through it, but he doesn't connect the knives. He did everything right, ruining the setup initially, but it doesn't connect the shots. But again, it's just Chronicle. He's turned things back.
But it seems like there's also someone on the FPX side who's interested in turning things back. That was Zippin, but his life didn't last for too long. Shadow though now joins the party. And as they're ready to retake the site, that recon bolt won't do too much. It's the Shadow Show for now. It's the Shadow Show that could do the difference, but it ain't happening. Gambit back at it, and here is the back and forth, and also a crucial revive, because this is putting that economy in a way better spot. Otherwise, it would have looked somewhat meager. Big investment would have come back in, but take a look at it.
I feel like those production love to do players dirty like that. It's just like, hey guys, have you got the replay of where he completely whiffed all of his knives? Yeah, let's just roll that up. Can we get it in slow-mo? Can we slow it down a little? just wreck him completely. He still destroyed a lot of the utility, but again, we're looking at someone like Chronicle, placed on that breach. It just seems to find multi-frags exactly when Gambit need it, and thing is, going into the defense, there are players like Redgar, Nats who seem to show up more, I guess, often than what we're currently seeing. Defo as well, if he's able to get that operator, currently down on 2 kills, but again, on the attack, you're looking at him mainly trying to make space for the rest of his team. Like, if he's down the bottom of the board, they're winning rounds. I don't think anybody's really going to care. Now, for FPX, this is a crunch round. Again, they're in a position where they can turn this back, make things costly once more for their opposition, but they themselves are left with, what, a pistol in this round alongside what is a lot of rifles, but still, it could be a little bit awkward.
A lot of territory already obtained by the side of Gambit. Go to the gates of the B sites. And as they wait patiently, seems like they're about to get in. They definitely see the star on the ground. There's no frag though, as 1 point of health remains on Demastic. Absolutely ridiculous how he survives that. Either way, it puts the side of FPX a little further, a little bit more towards that tie. As they have taken they've pretty much denied the ground now on the B side. They were giving it up, moving over to A. There's no real control here, Tom. Not yet.
Yeah, I wonder if he went running over to Xiao. Like, Xiao, you got your heel. Oh, you're not playing Sage anymore. Oh well. 40 seconds. Now they're gonna have to break a trip to basically try and take that control towards ropes. That will let Xiao know very quickly that there's gonna be players on this angle. It seems like they're even gonna try and run a stun through as they push right into him.
And this is Nats for you. This is Xiao for you as well. Triple secured. And that's nice information, Nats, but most likely it won't pay off. Eliminated and the quad brought in by Sova himself. 2 more, by the way, for the ult, which then could once more be somewhat of a difference maker. The thing that I'm looking forward to right now here, Tom, is definitely Chronicle and his Rolling Thunder. Because, you know, I think especially on a map like Split, this is somewhat of a life insurance for a round, because it's so narrow, it's also close, and once that earthquake hits a site, you have somewhat of an easy time running it over.
Yeah, it definitely can work out. You also see a lot of teams just use it to try and hold on to after plants. Like, especially a team like FPX, they're going to try and set up everyone and then come in with a relatively late take. So if you can just deny that, it can definitely make things a little bit easier. Again, we're going to see this almost early brawl for mid control, but with the utility that's there for FPX, they haven't had to go for any like all-in battles. They're just basically waiting for the control to be taken, and then they'll try and deny as much space as possible.
This is a lot of room. Quickly on the minimap telling us they're right now ruling out B main, which could give them somewhat of an idea what's about to happen. This would not be the first time we saw that Gambit either decide for ropes or alternatively swap sides from time to time, but here it is. There they come, and there they want to fake it out. That's at least what it seems like, because as you see right now, the Spike takes a different route, moving over to A. This is what they do. Entered ropes, and Shadow tries to play off of his own little smoke. As this, though, does not work according to plan, now this needs to be one flawless defense over on A. Xiao is the only tool left. He's only finding right now that Spike, not much more for the moment. The wall has been now fully built up, and it's just not enough. It's just not enough for now, but this is Zipan! Does he deny it? Yes, he does! This is 15 more, and those 15 more seconds definitely could make a difference. They also find Shados, and this is Chronicle, who flanks around, who comes around the corner, beheads Demasik in the process, means that good old Zipan, Clutchmeister himself, can't bring it home. And it got close, it got tight, but it's Gambit who still bring home number 6.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too much faith in the ice wall initially, and then just not expecting the ultimate to come out from Zipan. It got close, but it's still going to be the rounds going their way. And as we sort of already mentioned, like, if you're getting yourself a pretty decent half over on that attack, like getting yourself into a position where you basically can't lose the half, Gambit have got to be pretty happy with how things have actually been going so far. So yeah, sure, it's a little bit close for comfort in the end, but it's similar to what we saw in the early stages of the last map. Like, they are still doing a hell of a lot of damage when it comes to their attack, and going into the defense, if anything, I have more faith in their ability there.
Very, very understandable, but at the same time, you know, FPX, as we mentioned, we had this discussion earlier, slightly stronger on attack. Sure, it's because of the side start, don't get me wrong, but here it comes. I mean, the thing for me right here is that we're still talking about 2 strong ults on FPX that should or could pretty much decide that this is going to be a tied half. That Hunter's Fury, when you know where it's planted, it's pretty much 1 kill secured. And Cosmic Divide could also bring the difference. But first of all, right now, taking a look at that aggression and Zipan. That one is too close. Defo did not actually destroy the tripwire, and here it comes. Now they just mine a bit more than needed. Demasik swings around his own cage, but he also sees Redgar falling in front of him. That was a frag that his teammate found. Shadows, though, the only one alive now on the Gambit side.
Nice shot to at least connect onto the first, but I think anything more is going to be incredibly unlikely, Zescht. Yeah, I won't lie to you, my feed completely froze as he got that kill.
No worries.
Oh, God.
We're back. We're back. I mean, I have to say, I'll be really honest with you. This half being so back and forth, I think this shows us how close those teams are and how much maybe the decision of the sides have played into the hands of Gambit, because as you mentioned, picking up the pace, this was something that we saw on Icebox for sure, and this is maybe something where now on their defense, with this kind of setup they have, that could make them rule over FPX to some degree, whilst at the same time, I have to say, I'm very much looking forward to Shadow right here. You know, now it's time to attack, now it's time to see what the attacking Astra can do, because those stars have a lot of opportunities for also not only opening room, but also for faking out. And especially when you take the star away, this tiny second of a smoke, this is one of the things where, you know, we can take some room. Okay, we're swapping sides. We just swap over to the other direction of whatever room we have taken, and we didn't even need to waste the smoke.
Yeah, I think as well, just the way that they're setting up now almost allows Angel to go back to his ways of just taking an awful lot of space, so going into the attacking side. So let's put it this way. Angel's going to keep pushing until he gets rope room control, and then we'll see how they play from there.
Here it goes. I mean, this is this classic sort of default you would expect, with some room taken, not necessarily room, but a control in the form of information being now brought in. FPX left Demasik over on the side, lurking as he does usually, most of the time. They haven't set themselves for a direction yet. Whilst the room in middle is fairly clear, as usual, ropes could have been picked. It might be a matter of timing. Will Defo swing or not? Definitely not for now. But they're still not really set, Tom. They seem to push a bit towards B, but once the wall falls, maybe they fully commit to it.
Deploying drone.
Yeah, just taking their time, it seems, in this round. It does look like, however, there's a pretty good read coming out from Gambit, although I imagine this drone might give things away a little bit, especially with 3 players still lurking in mid. I wonder if we might see a change still from Gambit.
Might be the case. We definitely saw that FPX have the awareness about one player pushing back into their own spawn. Chronicle denies the plant, and with the timer being so low, not only Gambit is fighting you, the clock does as well. Shadow needs to make some work for his teammate. 5 more seconds, and it definitely becomes a problem right now. It is Gambit taking the pistol, and in what a fashion. This is where a single breach can have such major impact.
Yeah, I think as well the initial read that they had in that scenario was something that helped them out quite a bit. Like, they managed to get a lot of the information early, which is something I think that Gambit are excellent at doing. It's something that I've given credit to some of their players previously for doing, but as you mentioned, like, just the ability to try and deny them in these late stages with the time ticking so low, it's something that can sometimes come back and bite FPX, and it looks like in this case it did.
Seems like they have somewhat of a tendency directly going into ropes. Infodart gives them somewhat of an idea. Shadow he's alert and like, oh, there's a gap. Please let me use it. No. I have a direction, mate. But that's now Shadow's definitely hearing the ropes. One of them just didn't hold shift in time, and his positioning is absolutely incredible, really. I mean, that's vigorous, that's powerful, and that's finding him the first, but Zippin has a reply there.
At least a kill for them here, but they will have to break through the wall if they want to get themselves onto that afterplant position. And more importantly, Zescht, is still going to be a player waiting, and even the stars coming in to try and deny those extra players from rotating.
That's the thing, right? As they try to deny that, conversion is sometimes an issue. We saw it so often in professional Valorant that you would usually think, hey, they have the advantage weaponry-wise. What's the issue? Well, it's not always that easy. 20 seconds are left on the clock. It's going down. FPX, one of the slowest teams in Europe when it comes down to planting the spike. And that's pretty much a prime example right here. Redgar being fully stunned. They must have seen it. Angel, can he capitalize on it? Not entirely. And as Demasik and his sheriff is right now trying to hunt down the criminals, Shadows brings it out down in time. Yes, he does. And that is the Astra playing a pivotal role. He definitely heard that. And can Gambit bring it home? Yes, they can. Shadow is annihilating him. And this is a possibility of a momentum starting to shift in the side of FPX.
Yeah, around it again, you never really expect them to win, but somehow they managed to drag it through. I won't lie to you, Zescht, I am having a few technical issues, so I haven't really been able to see most of what happened in that round. So it's quite hard to sort of like talk about it, but I'm gonna say whatever FPX did, I'm sure it was very impressive.
I can tell you are right, Tom. Absolutely 100%. This is why you're an excellent colorcaster, you know? You nailed it. You just nailed the points. Absolutely. So for now, I love to see this is what, you know, you and I coming from a different title. If there's one thing I would say CIS teams are known, the real professional ones, it's very slow defaults, very slow approaches, and a very tactical kind of prowess. And this is what both teams bring us right here. Chronicle, in the meantime, he wants to get up close and personal, take the first few pallets into the face of Demasik, but it's not getting him killed. This is the wrong kind of Bucky patch for you, mate. And as they're entering A, it should be a pretty safe and clear one. Otherwise, that spike's going down. Sippin' and Co. shouldn't let that one slip away, especially from a weaponry side of things. We're talking about mostly Vandals and Phantoms, only a single Spectre in the hands of Demonsic. So if you want to keep your economy up and high, if you want to keep your investment as good as Doke, you should definitely not try to force the issue. Talking about it, there you go. Shadow does not even see that. I think he just saw pretty much the dash, the tiny little lines behind Jet, and this gave him the kill. Crazy stuff coming in. 8-1 secured, but it doesn't change the matter of fact. This is where money's going to play a crucial role. And as we always say, or some people at least do, money plays, or more likely, money rules the world. That's what I was trying to say. Well, let's see if it's going to do so. As we see right here, Sippin doing his usual fast B-hop skills. I don't think his spot is going to find too much at that point in time. Gambit is not going to drop that easily. Yep, that is nothing else than a tripwire down. Just ahead of Demonsic, pardon, the head of Natsine, and he breaks up the double. This is where the ropes can become deadly. FPX only down to 2. The weaponry not that strong on the FPX side. Well, except, I'm taking that back. I mean, we still see a Spectre. Obviously, that operator in the hands of Defo is usually a death sentence to everyone who's coming towards his way. It's not like Gambit is playing any kind of meager or flimsy Valorant at all. Far away from it. But the last few rounds, especially the conversion, is where FPX turned the tables, and they turned it massively. Now the surprise play of Angel, that could make the difference, and yes it does! Yes it does! Xiao joins! And as they find frags left, right, and center, it very much feels like Gambit is put in a world of trouble. And that world of trouble, well, it seems to spin faster and faster. FPX are in charge of this roller coaster ride. I'm just astonished right here. I'm really astonished with the way FPX makes things work when it's, you know, looking sinister and looking dark. That clutch is, again, where Angel had this kind of awareness, okay, I have to go out of the smoke at the right timing, though, because they are expecting me. Of course, Gambit hasn't been just born yesterday. They are on the battlefield for a while. And this is where I'm, you know, always so happy. It really, it fills me with joy to see such decision-making.
Pulling them in.
Standing ahead.
And, you know,
Take flight.
I have to say, is this like this kind of deja vu we're having from Icebox, really? Because they were somewhat sent in disastrous realm of grief at one point, where Dante's Inferno was somewhat of a joke compared to this. As though you have to say, surely it was an 11-13, but the change of pace and the switch up from FPX, that's what really made the difference. And as Angel is eliminating Nats, not too much happening on the side of Gambit. Entry is what they've obviously looking for, but again, weaponry-wise, not ideal scenario. Double digits pretty much secured at this point for FPX, as they keep very close. They pretty much clutch each other close, at least towards heaven. I think Angel must have been hurt. Unfortunate for Redguard to not find the frag. And if Chronicle can make a difference, definitely not with the Gravity Well coming his way. They can all just pass, but for how long is the question? There is Shados, and this also means the spike has now been placed on a silver platter. Still, Chronicle and Shados strike. Sippin is having none of that, but 20 seconds, and they gotta get that thing. This spike has to be brought to the ground, because otherwise the loss is pretty much on their side. This is Defo, and this is where the operator safe is a major difference. Demonsic, run, boy, run is pretty much the soundtrack of that one. 6 more seconds, make it 5. He starts to defuse. He's not gonna fake. He's not gonna fake. Demonsic falls, and Gambit bring home a round that should have never been theirs at all. Wow.
Clutch.
Really insane stuff. I mean, oh, goodness gracious. I could have imagined a lot of things coming in their way, but this is where, first of all, the operator's becoming a vital part, of course. But this is where I just loved, and I was absolutely amazed by that kind of slow-paced yet very patient play we saw in Heaven by the side of Gambit. I mean, specifically, it was Chronicle. Really was just waiting and waiting, taking his time, peeking around when needed, waiting for also Shados to come in. As Sage playing such a pivotal role when it comes to fragging. This is something we've seen so often in Valorant by now, as this is an agent in place not only Rowan supporting and healing and reviving, no, it has become a different sort of agent by now. A lot of strong players, a lot of heavy players with, well, frag heavy players tend to play it more and more by now. But the thing is, and that's for me personally right now at the point in time where I say there is no way where FPX are about to lose such a round. They're having all their ults. Every player alive is there with an ult. And not only that, surely there's more in this equation. For example, 2-man advantage for FPX, as Defo can't really make a move. 5k, first of all, in his hands. Second of all, down to 42 points of health. And his Chronicle, just waiting it out, hoping to find any exit frags at that point in time. I have to say,
weak.
That one is going. I mean, I just want to say, I have to say that this is right now Gambit struggling to some degree, yet I don't see them not having a chance turning it around. Surely, there have been Vipers in the grass, and yes, they are biting and intoxicating your play. At the same time, though, I feel very much, this is where I do believe that Gambit can now start to change the pace slightly. You know, this is always a very easy thing to say, don't get me wrong. But we saw it, for example, on the side of FPX when they were switching to attackers. And I think Gambit, yes, they're a young team, most definitely. Experience-wise, not on the same level as FPX. They're not here to fool around, and I know some people were here like, yeah, Europe, like Central Europe is by far the best region here in this EMEA. There's not too much that the other ones can bring on the table. I mean, that icebox was already a blast. Split is also pretty tight. Talking about it,
I know exactly.
That's out. And Angel coming in. That was exactly where his ult played a crucial role. Another spike down. It's funny why Sensipin lurking the entire way over on B. That's very crazy right now to that degree that I think they feel so safe of getting the round that they send him lurking to, at the end of the day, absolutely destroy the economy. They want this economy gone. But if it's gonna even work, that's a different question, because this is right now a crucial dart. This is Angel joining. But Xiao is just waiting patiently. They're coming right now out of the smoke. That works. Here's the ult coming in as well. And Xiao with the double is closing the case in combination with the EMEA. He's like, wait a second, I got the showstopper out. What are you waiting for? But nope. Here we are again.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I have not seen anything from the last 4 rounds, so I'm not going to pretend to analytically break this one down. I won't lie to the viewers at home. Unfortunately, guys, sometimes internet sucks, and sometimes it's very, very nice. So, 11 to 8, you know? That's my analysis of the round, is sometimes things go bad, sometimes you cry about it, which is what I've been doing for the last few minutes. I'm just washing away the tears. But now we're back into the round, and by the looks of it, I've missed a lot, because FPX looking like they're in the driver's seat once again.
Well, pretty much you're forcing me right now here to make a car reference, but I'm definitely not doing it.
Brum, brum.
Brum, brum, drive, drive, fast, fast, left lane. But in the meantime, as you said, in the driver's seat right now, Gambit somewhere totally else, feeling like they're off to some degree, can't really cope with the strength FPX is delivering. As right now you see, once more opening the room. The B side pretty much belongs to FPX already.
Sometimes I'll say the retake's going to be tough. This time I'll say the retake looks impossible. The chances of them being able to bring this one back look slim to none. The positioning of FPX is basically almost just bundle up in the site, making trades almost more than likely. Xiao also looking to try and hold on to some of the flanking players. If they can get a trade here, maybe there's a chance we can see Angel already ready to set up his team. He doesn't need to. Xiao just connects every shot that's ever asked of him. And now the rest of the players could just wipe down the remainder. Nice shot from Nats at least. He can... I was going to say build up ult points, but he actually already has those as well, so just do a little bit of damage. And now it's crunch time. We expected coming into this that Gambit would make things competitive, that they might be the team to finally rival the likes of FPX, and instead, they are one round away from just heading into the lower bracket. Let's premise that, Zescht. They are not out if they lose to what we consider the best team in Europe. They would just be in the lower bracket.
I'm very fascinated, and I'm very excited, that's the right way to put it, to see how Gambit, for example, would play against the Liquid, if that is going to happen, right? This puts the premise is that Liquid is going to lose later on. We're going to see. We're going to analyze it a little later. But this is the thing. This is where I'm super interested to see this very structured Gambit with a solid game plan, a solid strat book, fighting against a way more fast-paced team. Because you have to see FPX, that's, statistically speaking, the second slowest attacker-sided team when it comes to plant times. Surely there's much more to put in the equation when we're talking about plant times, but still, it gives you somewhat of an idea.
Normally kill everyone first, yeah?
Right, sure, no, I'm with you, I'm absolutely with you, but when it comes down to that, it's somewhat of a tendency.
That's the big brain play, Zescht, is if you kill everyone, you don't need to plant the spike. Although, it does give you an extra armor orb, so if you're being extra tactical, maybe you plant it anyway. There you go. That's the biggest of brain. You win the round and then you plant the spike.
Both orbs.
Coming in with a deep analysis. That's all you need. Now, Nat's very good at finding information. That's the first player tag. They know there's one there. They also have to break the trip just in front of them, and he's already killed one before they've even realized exactly where he is. Trades coming in thick and fast, but it is the defenders to hold on to A. But I'm more interested in Zipan right now. He's the man we want to be focusing on. Production were right there with me, as he's going to start his movement forward. The problem is the neural theft kind of gives that plan away. They were trying to fake things into a B-site take, and instead, Defo is going to be there with his operator. He allows for many more risks to be taken. It seems, however, that Zipan had a decent idea.
They heard that, and this is obviously something that is a rather intimidating sound. They still make the move, and Zipan is using his blast pack for the surprise movement. It doesn't change the matter of fact that Redguard is still with you. Demasik though tries, charges in, and kills the IGL of Gambit. Here comes the fake. Can he find more? He sees just a bit of the haircut of Chronicle, but it's still Breach alive. It ain't working. The triple is secured, and the 9-12 is something that is most definitely retrievable, Tom. This is something that you can grab once more, and it's not gone. It's far away from being gone, actually.
No match.
What I will say is, I know that as a commentator, there is this almost... I guess, not distaste, but people don't like it when you almost fanboy players. I'm gonna go out straight away and say I'm a Nats fanboy. Like, watching through some of their demos, I think that this man has so many different like camera setups, and more importantly, they're just ones that if you clear, he knows where you are. If you don't clear, he wins the round of just having that information. And in the last, you can almost spot it. Like, he is keeping an eye on so many different positions that they almost have to clear his cam and him as two separate entities. Now this time, it's going to be towards the back of the site. Xiao is going to spot him. So they know that he's in a spot which is very much wallbangable. And Angel, well, there you go. Just get rid of that man and the site is yours.
And that's a good bunch of information they've gathered as well, because Angel, I'm fairly sure, had at least 2 different footsteps up there close to the window. And that is the worst. Cosmic Divide is coming in. And this could right now be the end of Gambit, but we're far away from being done. As Xiao, though, takes a dashing defo, not obtaining any control for now on ramp is a bit of a problem for Gambit. They are down by 2, and with this kind of aim, and with this kind of control, there's no way you break the lines of FPX. 13-9 on Split. Once more, the first half, somewhat shaky, somewhat unfortunate slash, let's say, worrying. But at the same time, the second one top. That is where FPX got back in the driver's seat and got back in a winning scenario. I'm happy that this was our initial game because it was an absolute banger.
Well, yeah, I don't have a whole lot of analysis for this map because, as I said, I kind of missed half of it due to my own technical issues. But what I will say is that I've learned that I think at the end of that game, Xiao took a massive chug of milk. So clearly that's the reason why he's so strong, because he's got all that calcium in his bones. So fantastically done by them. Of course, FPX showing once again why they are one of the best. I'm not even going to say that. They are the best team within Europe that we've seen. It's up to some of the EMEA teams to maybe try and take them off that pedestal. I will, however, say as a starting point for Gambit, for a lot of the viewers at home, this is the team that you're going to witness. They are a scary force to be reckoned with. I think they went into both halves, like either at least level or in the lead, and it took a comeback from FPX in both cases. So let's be real, going up against some of the other teams within this tournament, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing this very match as the grand final.
Absolutely. I'm just right now waiting for that Reddit thread on Valorant Competitive about, milk drinking and how it makes you a pro player. I was doing a 30-day experiment. But, you can vote as well for your favorite calcium intake. Sipan, Demasik, and Xiao are your free individuals that you can vote as the players of the match. You can obviously do that over on the socials of the Valorant Champions Tour Europe, Val Esports _EU. It is for you on Twitter. You should definitely do so. But other than that, we are about to go in a little break. We're about to be back with Liquid fighting the likes of BBL. That's absolutely going to be a banger once more. You shouldn't miss that. So I would say we see you guys in a second. We'll just be in a break.